Minister, just to say firstly, like all of my colleagues here, we all fully recognise and respect and thank all of those workers who worked diligently over the last week or so, and indeed all of those now who are working to get our water supply back up and running. I would say I believe this needs a whole-of-government approach. I think one of the things that struck me during Storm Emma as well was the number of ministers, including yourself, and rightly so in your position to be there, but the number of other ministers who came to the National Coordination Committee to stand beside you on television and to be part of the news and the information that was there. That was very important, by the way, and in the main accurate. But I think now I want to make sure that you're not just left on your own, that this needs a whole-of-government approach. And what we do need, I want to back up Deputy Curran completely. So in my own area of Dublin Fingal, there are thousands of people with water restrictions, and the frustration is about information. Is when someone is told it's low water pressure, if you take in Skerries in particular, where I've had a number of complaints, that the low water pressure has meant zero supply. So the information is key so people can plan. But then the time frames is what is needed as well. It does concern me when I hear on the radio this morning that we're looking at this situation maybe carrying on for a number of weeks now. I think we need to get a hold on what work needs to be done to get the supply back to its full capacity and how long that is going to take. Also, I would ask you not to forget, which I'm sure you haven't, is our emergency services and particularly Dublin Fire Brigade. And I've had requests in my own constituency in Dublin Fire Brigade for additional water tankers on the basis and just in case there is a cut-off on supply that's not expected. So in fairness, I do want to say how responsive Irish Water and indeed Fingal County Council were earlier on today when I requested a water tanker be facilitated and be located at Swords Fire Station, which covers the size of effectively a city of Swords. So, look, we want to work with you and we want to work with all agencies to ensure that the water supply is back as quickly as possible. But I would like you to address what your view of the time frame for full supply to be back in place for Dublin and other parts of the country. Reiterate, it is really important that we try to get on top of the issues within the Greater Dublin area. I think you know that that's the predominance of where the problem is. About 1.2 million people. You've mentioned Skerries and other places already. I think one of the things is you have people's forbearance at the moment. People are patient. If it continues on into next week and the week after, that's when we have a serious problem. I would ask you particularly to look at small businesses that are reliant on water, such as barbers, hairdressers, coffee shops, restaurants, and they will be very badly affected, and their income will be affected. But look, I think we need to do as well is, I would ask you to prioritise emergency services, which I'm sure they are already, but to reiterate that, but also look at an inventory of where the faults are. I'm not perfectly convinced by this argument that you just keep trotting out that the pipes on average are 80 years old. There's been some very significant investments over the last 20 to 30 years as well in water infrastructure in my own area of Fingal. And some of the problems that we're having relates to newer infrastructure. So it's not just down to old infrastructure. So, look, I'd ask you to try to get a handle on the timeframes, to keep communicating with us. And I think that we'll certainly do our best to assist where we can.